could she calm down?
Right.
So right now, when a client says always, she just proved herself wrong. Incongruence, change. There's somewhere there that we can change.
I want to. I want to be able to tell my mom, hey, look, I'm a woman now.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
a
you
little
started
kid.
that
You
change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
you
a
stood
huge
up for
change.
yourself.
I did.
You like
So if you bring
blew her
that
out
to the
the
client's awareness in a session, that is a very successful session. You spoke up,
Yeah.
and she, mahasi.
And I didn't even go all
I
on her.
did, no, I did the same thing this weekend. We went to the fair. And so my brother, he's handicapped. I should be given handicapped because of my seizures. But anyways, she has the handicap sign. And so the cops are trying to, tell her to move over to the other side. Her friend was the one driving the car. So I'm like, Mom, hurry up, get the sign. Like, I was talking a little loud, and she was like, what's your problem? Like, and so once we got in, I was like, listen, Mom, my bad for talking the way I did, but I was trying to get you because your friend was gonna move over, and then you were gonna have to pay $20 for parking when you could get into a handicap for free. So I did apologize for my actions, and then she realized, she was like, oh, and she brought it to her friend's attention. She was like, oh my God, you were really gonna switch lanes when I had the handicap? And she's like, I didn't know, my bad, because she doesn't put it on the damn car. I'm like, that's what it's for.
But those are two situations where you both diffused.
Yeah.
You both diffused a personality of very stubborn, difficult people. And we do that in therapy. When a client comes in very riled up, just understanding them, listening to them, that's part of diffusing a situation. So if you keep in mind that that other person has not been loved unconditionally, they do not have their needs met, they also want empathy, they also want to build a rapport, you can shift a lot of things just with those basic tenets. Validation.
Do you think that when you mentioned how the client could fall in love with therapy by, hey, my therapist listens to me, she supports me, she does all that shit, do you think it's possible? I'm pretty sure it's possible, but what I'm trying to get at is, in a relationship, could that also happen? Instead of being...
Oh, I am a big, big believer in that.
Because how you said
Therapy,
it's
it's
transfer love.
transference.
Yeah.
But of course,
So it would be a transfer of, I had
your
a bad
partner
relationship.
is your
and now-
parent. Your parent didn't do these things for you. Your client's parent, your partner's parents didn't do this thing for him or her.
Do you think that's healthy, or because what I'm trying to find out is if you
Are you using it as a manipulation?
no, I'm
Or
trying
you're
to
really trying to reach a communication with this person
right. What I'm trying
and
to
create
find
an
out
empathic, validating space? I think
right.
that's
What I'm
very
trying to find
beautiful.
out is it's does he love me because he loves me, or he loves me because he transferred that affection, that love of, oh my God, she listens to me, she's always there, she's like my mom, but as my partner, and so I'm by listening
Well,
to
when
this,
you
I'm
say,
scared
does he
what
love
if.
me because he loves me, what I'm hearing,
Is it true
forgive
love?
me if I'm wrong, what I hear is unconditional love. And me personally, I don't believe in unconditional love. I believe that is very reserved for very evolved people, and we have to love ourselves unconditionally first. So I think that's what you're asking.
Right,
So
I'm just,
what is it? We all fall in love. Love is transactional. There's a transaction.
There's something like, give me something and I'll return
That's
it.
just the reality of it. And if you're thinking it's not, then that's a whole other
And it
situation.
doesn't have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Physical, you know, a give and take of emotion, feeling.
And a water person like me, I'm not gonna have a one-night stand. I need to connect emotionally to a person if I'm gonna make love to them. That's a water speaking. A fire person could care less.
Thank you, next.
Exactly. So, exactly that. So, if you're connecting with a partner, if you're listening to what their needs are, and you're giving them those needs, well, that's the purpose of that relationship. If your needs are also getting met, because I do believe in a two-way street. And there are people that manipulate their partner, and they will tell them yes to everything. They will tell them everything they want to hear. And maybe what they want is, if they're an earth person, is that they want their bills paid. Who's to say that doesn't work? It's not what I want.
And the definition of love changes for everybody.
Absolutely. And this is my theory
Oh,
on thread mate versus soulmate. A soulmate is this esoteric belief that this person is supposed to meet all your needs and be everything for you. My belief is that we have a thread mate. Your thread with your spouse might be raising these children. And that might be the transaction. That might be why you're together. Who's to say that's wrong? Some people, it's to live by appearances. You see this stuff all the time in the news, in these tabloids. It's like, oh, it's a relationship of convenience, or they're both famous, so that's their thread. Every relationship, in my belief, has a thread. And as long as both people have the same values, this is my theory, and that thread is intact, whether it's financial, whether it's sexual, whether it's spiritual, whether it's children, why not? That's where we as a therapist cannot judge that relationship. If you have a client, a couple, and they come in and their entire relationship is sexual, let's say they're fire people, and you need romantic connection, who the hell am I to judge them because they want to fuck all night long?
That's their connection.
That's their thread. So I have to put my stuff aside as a therapist and understand that they have a thread. If I can't be without judging it, then I need to refer them. So if Nellis, the relationship, what is the thread there? What is the union? And are the people in the couple getting their needs met? And it also goes back to the I and the we. Is this person being expected to meet all of your needs? I'm not a believer that one person can meet your needs. This person should be whole coming in, you should be whole. This is should, because this is not normally what happens. Maybe later on as we get older and have been burned enough, and maybe. And a lot of therapy. And then we create a new relationship that I call the we, where each person brings in their perfect self, or their unconditionally loved self. But what's the thread? Why are we judging the thread of why two people are together? So it's enough to stay together because you have kids, but it's not enough together because you don't want to get rid of your boat? Who said? Who said? Those are judgments. And it's the value of the couple that will determine. So ask yourself, and you ask your client, and I ask my clients this a lot. Do you have the same values? I had a client the other day, and she's like, I love him, he's amazing. And it's hard because he's my client too, so I know the situation. And And she's like, I love him so much, he's amazing, and he is. He's like a freaking rock star, this guy. They're perfect together. But she has fire, she wants some more excitement, she wants some more passion, she wants some more, go out and dance, and he's a homebody. So you're dealing with two different elements here. He's very earth, he's very, very financially motivated, and she's very fire. So she's whispering, she's like, I don't know if he's the one for me, and this and this and that, and she needs to figure out if this is what she wants. Because they want to get married, they want to have babies, this is where they're headed in their relationship. But she's questioning. And I said, do you have the same values? What are the values? Let's start with the values in the relationship. You and your mom have different values. That's part of the reason that there's conflict.
Can I just say something to Nellis? Because we have a group chat, because we're homies. But,
I like that.
Do you mind if I share something? It's nothing private, but she was telling me, oh my God, this guy doesn't leave me alone, like, right? That's
No.
what you. So I noticed from her saying that she doesn't like people that are cheekless, that are too like
0 to 100.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
sure she doesn't like people
But
that
I
are
mean,
cheekless?
I'm thinking because of the way she spoke.
I'm more of between 0 to 100. I'm more of a 80, 90.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that, and what you're trying to say, it's what I was talking about. It's my ex. And when I say, oh my God, this guy doesn't leave me alone, it's because even though I'm fighting every day not to like go back with him, not to think about him, not to all that romantic shit, he always comes back. And whenever I feel like, okay, this is it, this is the last time I want to talk to him, like he always comes back. And when he does, it's like all of my barriers that I put up, they're like, oh, come right back.
Okay, so there's a few things. First of all, what is the client really saying?
I want
If
to be
she
with him.
hates chicles,
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
sticky, that she loves chicles.
Yeah.
And you have to listen for that. Words like always, words like never. Those should be very important words in your client vocabulary for you to pick up on a theme.
So why did you break up? You still, like,
She's
So
having-
Pedro doesn't believe that you really want to be broken up.
But she-
The
No,
other thing
I would marry that guy. I was the type of person that would always say, oh, I want to get married, but it got to a point that I was like, is marriage really the best thing? Because it got to a point that I wouldn't trust nobody.
But that's very 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Marriage or breakup.
But she's meeting.
And you're only, what, 23?
Yeah.
He's meeting. Wait, she's getting her needs met, but I think she's not like giving it back.
Oh no.
We don't know.
The,
We
that's
don't
the
know
problem,
because the
that
other
I'm
guy
giving
isn't
you
your client.
Well, right, but
everything. I'm giving him everything.
Oh.
And when I have asked for, I feel like in whenever we have like the day on the 13th, so every 13th we make another month. So every time somehow we always come together, even though we don't plan it. So this past 13, right before Valentine's Day, we got together, we went to see a movie, and then he took me out to lunch. And it happens that the place that he took me was one of like the first restaurants that we went to almost 3 years ago.
yeah.
It's been like almost 3 years, right?
Yeah.
not coincidence.
Right, yeah, gee, coincidence.
Right. He's like,
Right.
no, he's like, he told me, you think this was a coincidence? No, like, I brought you here because, this is where we kind of first came to have a drink afterward. And long story short, we started talking about life and like how we started and everything that we've been through and stuff. And he asked me, he always tries to get me, like, de atrás pa'lante, like, to see how many people I've been with. And it's like, and I told him, I feel judged when you ask me that, and I have told you, and you continue to ask me to see if I'm telling the truth, and I really feel like you're judging me, and I don't really appreciate that because I've never judged you. And how many people have you been with, and I've never asked you? Because that's your business. That's before we met. You're 10 years older than me. Come on, it's obvious you're gonna be with a lot of people. And he's like, oh no, baby, I'm not judging you. Like, but I feel like you are. So even if you think you're not, I feel like you are. It's like, oh well, my bad, I'm sorry. Because it's always like it. And
How often does it come up though? Like, does that one thing, how often does that come up? Or similar situation?
What happened when he apologized? What happened when he corrected you that he wasn't judging you?
he said that before, and then he does it again. So it's like, oh, you're not really sorry because you keep bringing it up.
Whose issue is it?
His.
Security.
Well,
It's hers.
mine, but
It's yours. You're the one that has the issue with how many people you've been with, or your sexual promiscuity. It's
yes,
you.
because he's always talking about how he's always wanted a wife that, not a wife, but a life partner that he's only been the only man in their life. And I'm like, bitch, you're fucking 32. Who the fuck you gonna find at that age that's
Okay,
a fucking
like
virgin?
so, but she's our client.
Right there.
She's our client coming to the session, telling us the story.
Okay.
She's the one who's judging herself.
Yeah.
Yes, because I wanted to wait into a marriage, and I fucking did it because I'm stupid, and I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm not gonna hold on with my nymphomania to just because I want to give you something precious. Fuck you. I'm not gonna give you that value.
Okay, there's a value judgment there.
Yeah.
She's judging that virgins are better than sluts.
Mm-hmm.
That's your judgment. It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with you. So how do we shift for you to accept the judgment you have about yourself? How do we get this client to shift that being a virgin is better than being a slut? There is a huge value statement. Value statements and value judgments come from what our parents teach us. And it's when we're not in agreement with our parents anymore, but we're still little kids. We are all in this room little kids trying to be like, Mommy, love me, Mommy, love me.
Well, I do keep telling myself and him that if I wouldn't have had any previous experience, I wouldn't be able to appreciate and notice, his value in me or with me.
That's all great, but you're still judging yourself. Those
Oh,
are
yeah.
just excuses for you to make yourself feel
Can't
better.
help it. I don't
What is
want
the
to.
family value around sex?
Well, everyone in my family waited until marriage, especially my mom.
Okay, so
Even though she's
now,
another loca, pero she waited.
so now you have a client whose parents gave her one value.
Plus the whole Jehovah's stuff. You're not
Then you
supposed
have
to-
your client that has a different value. And all the client wants to do is get love from the parents. And this is where they think they're gonna get the love.
They want the approval.
I do feel bad
Of course,
to think that my parents think, oh shit, my daughter's not a virgin anymore.
of course
I
you
do feel bad thinking about
So
that.
you're judging yourself, your whole self-worth is revolving around the fact that you no longer are a virgin. Does that make you a bad person?
No.
You think it does. So you try to get your client to see other situations. Am I a bad person, or who do you respect? Who is someone that you respect that has had sex out of wedlock? An example. But this is a clash in values. Your client, the incongruence, is what's bringing them to therapy. And it's usually, what did the parents or the family believe what do they believe? And they don't know how to accept their own value system. Then they put it on to the other person. That's why everyone's a mirror. This has nothing to do with your boyfriend.
Does he really always bring that up, or is that your perception?
Not always, but he has asked me in the almost 3 years of us being together, he's asked me 5 to 6 times. So it's not like always, but he does, it's like, you know, when you have some like guilt and that's brought up, you're like, holy shit, there it is
So what
again.
would be the
So-
worst thing that happened if you told him the truth?
Yeah.
Tell him you're a slut.
Now, and I'm confused because you're telling us that you meet every 13th, but you're broken up, or you're
Yeah.
together
Right, because
for
she has
3
no
years.
clue. Do I want to
What's
be with
going
him? Do I
on?
not want to be with him? Can I satisfy him because I'm not a virgin? Do I marry him? I don't want to marry him because I should be married. So you're never going to get married.
So,
I'm even thinking about the fact that he's not so much older, but he's older than me. And I'm here thinking,
But that's not
do I
the
want to
issue.
be sleeping next to a viejo, like an
It's
old
not
guy?
the issue. It's not the issue. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's older. It has to do with the fact that you are judging yourself because you lost your virginity. Therefore, you are damaged goods. Maybe el viejo is all you think you can get
Yeah, right.
because you're damaged goods.
so it's like the
I'm
whole-
damaged goods. Nobody's gonna want me. That's my story right now. That is
It's
my
old.
story. It's very old. And you missed the whole part where I
Oh,
said,
darn!
I'm in a story, it's bullshit, none of it's true. You missed all of that.
Ah, okay.
But that's the story I'm in now. I am damaged goods. I look like a Frankenstein, all of my scars. I look like a boy with his hair. Like, I am unlovable. Your story is that you are not marriage material because you're not a virgin.
So it's like you start judging before you even get into something. So the whole relationship is based on.
That's why it's a redo. That's why it's a redo. So of course she's gonna find someone who asks her. So what is the worst thing that can happen if you tell him you've slept with 5 or 50 or 500 guys? What's the worst that can happen?
I feel like I don't know, I feel like he would be, I guess, discouraged, like, kind of like disgusted, oh.
Okay, but you already feel that way.
I do.
You already feel that he is judging you. Another thing that can happen is that you could break up. Well, you're already not happy and
We're in the limbo.
in this limbo because of it. You're already doing the things that could happen. That's what we do. We already create the problem in the relationship because we have a value statement that we're holding ourselves to.
Oh my God, that's so true.
I
I
You're
just had my
already
own
doing
opinion.
it because you already lost your parents' love because your parents never loved you unconditionally. You already lost it the moment you were conceived. Your parents could not love you unconditionally.
I was talking to Aniela.
So we're still trying
Oh,
to get it.
I was talking to Aniela about it because I admire so much how she's just like, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck.
But
I'm
that's
like,
a 0 to 100.
Right,
There's a whole
yeah,
other
yeah,
story
yeah.
there.
I'm
That's
like,
a whole
let's give each other a little bit of each other. And, you know, she was asking me, why can you move on? Why? Because I kind of had a small conversation with this other guy that's like, I think he's like super cute. And I told her how I'm just, I keep staying there because I'm afraid to be alone. Because he's like the only friend I have. Like whenever I have a problem, whenever I need to talk to someone, he's always the one there for me. Even if we're breaking up, like we always end up like coming back to each other, telling, hey, what's going on, how's the family, blah, 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 all that friendship. So it's like I'm afraid to lose the one person that has been consistent with me for 3 years now. And before when we were in a relationship,
Consistency is the word of earth. She's speaking from her earth.
yeah. And, you know, the most that we would spend without talking was like 3 days. But the third day, I was like, oh, I can't take it anymore. I miss you. And, you know, the same thing for him, you know, mi niña linda, like, I miss you. And when we have spent a month, it feels like an eternity. It feels like years. And I keep telling myself, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And even the other day, we had a misunderstanding. And I felt like shit. Like my whole day was ruined, and I kept telling myself, why? Why do you feel like this? It's something insignificant. Like we're gonna be okay again. Why are you feeling so anxious?
Insignificant, because at the root of it is you are not a virgin.
I
That's
just
at
feel
the root.
I feel
You already
anxious when
fucked
I
up.
don't have him. You know. Like
You
when-
already fucked up. And maybe you feel anxious when you don't have him because he somewhat accepts you, knowing you're not a virgin. He obviously knows you're not a virgin. It doesn't matter if you've been with 1 or 100.
Right.
You lose your virginity once. That's it. At that moment, you stopped
It's twice.
having a value. You stopped having any worth.
So,
You died the day you lost your virginity.
The night. I love
The night you lost your virginity.
let me clarify this for
That
you.
night, you became damaged goods. And you're gonna bring that into your relationships until you work through that issue.
So that's the thing.
So-
I wasn't like that.
I'm confused. If you're with this, if you're with him because he is someone that you can talk to, that you can go to and accepts you, then why do you not feel you can move to the next step of just committing to him? Or vice versa, him committing to you?
I don't
Because
know.
she's damaged. She is not commitment material because she did not wait until marriage. That's the value she is basing her entire self-worth on.
So if she changes the outlook on it, then
That's what you try to
You have
help
to
your
change
client
yourself,
shift.
not the other person.
You help your client try to accept that really she could give a rat's ass about being a virgin. But what does she lose? What does she lose the minute she says to her parents, fuck you, I don't give a shit about virgin? The little bit of maybe possibility that her parents might love her unconditionally. That's all we're doing. We are all children trying to get those parents to love us unconditionally. It is never going to happen. The only person can love you unconditionally is yourself. So it's all a show. It's a mask. That's all we wear. Archetypes are masks. So your biggest mask is the fact that you must beat yourself up because you are not a virgin. But your true self can give a shit.
Right.
But if the day you admit that,
you lose.
you lose, you think, the little bit of love your parents gave you. All of us are in this predicament. That's the 0 to 100. That's why you listen. That's not your true value. It's not your true worth. That isn't the truth. That's a lie. That is a story you told yourself. That is your story. Just like my story is, I'm damaged, I'm no good, I'm worth nothing, I can do no good in this world, I am not necessary. I have no meaning, I have no purpose. And I'm married to my story. And you're married to your story, and you're married to your story, and you're married to your story. And your client is married to their story.
But that doesn't mean the story can't change.
And that's what I spent the first hour talking about. The fact that our job is to, through myth, through stories, through symbols, through metaphors, helping bring
The
some
change.
awareness
Change the
so
story.
that you could change the story.
Do it.
What would happen if you embraced your sexuality? You embrace it in here.
Oh hell yeah.
In here you are fine.
You should have seen James the other day.